box? Who's in the box? Oh, what's in the box?
All right, there's all kind of talk going on. Joe Rose, Hill's thing, what McDaniel said. What did he really mean? Getting into that stuff is murky water. I've been doing it for a while. I want to talk football. We got the combine coming. Huge offseason for the Dolphins. And so I want to get into this draft and how things are looking in my eyes and how it's falling to us. And Ryder McConneville was kind enough to come on and do a live with me. And I was thinking, like, we were primed at that 13 spot. But he said, and he offered a lot of good nuggets during that conversation, that we could end up in a no man's land. Now, for me, once we got rid of Fuller, we opened up a big floodgate of problems. We have an offensive line, clearly needs huge help. We're missing DI and maybe even D-line. I had a doctor comment to me and Odaris, who played big-time ball, knew big-time ball, and he said he's very concerned about Chubb returning, and even Phillips. We got Chop. So you got edge, DI, cornerback, and O-line that are critical pieces. You could say safety, but if you got the right corners, a cornerback group, you can kind of get away with guys that maybe you could pick up in free agency for the cheap, even some nice guys in the second round of free agency, or you can find guys in the middle of the drafts. I don't think the safety part's as big a problem if you take care of that corner. And so I'm going to get into how I'm seeing it fall. There are some interesting pieces, most notably Abdul Carter with the foot injury. It wasn't a stress fracture, won't cause surgery, but there are a few players that could alter this thing to kind of head to our direction or not. And I think it's going to be a very pins and needles draft for Dolphins fans. But when you wrap all that stuff together, there's overriding themes. There's these big macro themes that we've got to kind of think about. So this team is in a weird spot. We've got supposedly a GM and a coach and quarterback on a hot seat. And that kind of says win now. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But the reality is if we shoot for the stars and just go all in, I don't think we're going to get there. And it's not going to end well. But what I do think is we can build the foundation right. We got some more money from Tehran, puts us about 15. I think that's where we're at right now, depending on what happens. But a little bit of the moves that we're talking about, maybe get rid of Chubb, that's post-June. So you're going to have 15 or so million, unless you want to extend somebody, which is not smart, to get some nice little pieces in here, some average guys, some good finds, and then use your 10 picks to get some players to fill this thing out, but it's going to take another year. So does Greer get desperate and go all in, or does he build smart? It's the unknown. One thing I know is I don't want a receiver at 13. The cycle, I've been talking about it for a few years, moving to pass balance. You saw the Eagles win against the super quarterback with a pretty good quarterback, but the run game, offensive line, and defense kind of tipped the scales along with Casey's problems at offensive line. So how is this cycle moving in the minds of GMs? Are they going hot and heavy for these tight ends and offensive line? How is it going to play out? Are they going to reach? For me, I look top 10 players, offensive line. Will Campbell's the only guy I would think goes in that top 10, but you never know. I still haven't fully studied these guys out. So what happens? Do teams try to chase the cycle, chase the build, and reach? There's going to be at least one team that probably reaches, and it shakes everything up. The no Fuller thing is a huge deal. But then you got no Campbell. Phillips, the orthopedic surgeon, said you need to give this guy real time to come back or it's going to re-injure. He also said he doesn't expect Chubb to come back to full strength. And Chop has struggled in run defense. Does Kamara step in? There's a lot of that stuff there as well. Got no O-line. You heard McDaniel talk about no O-line. You heard Greer talk about it, but is it like, hey, yeah, we got to add pieces, or is it, yeah, we got to add pieces? I don't know. TE, a lot of people are hot on the tight end, and I can get it, but with all these extra holes, and I'm sure at this, Greer and McDaniel have to have like average success. And so do they reach, say, if Warren drops to us at 13, although I'm not sure he makes it to us. So do we go premium player, what we love? Or are we going for serious holes? The thing now, though, with Fuller out, a serious hole or legitimate foundational holes available, especially with Ramsey at 31-32. I think cornerback is now maybe the biggest piece considering the positioning we are unless something happens. So that's the full deal. Guys, like, subscribe, comment, and view. That's how I stay in the business. Keeps me going. I'm in a race to get to 10K to make my sponsors happy. So if you can, help me out. And if you already are, I thank you a ton. So here's my graphic. And this is the top 20 teams. I think the best thing for us would be to trade out of that 13 spot. If we get a trade, doesn't mean Greer's going to pick the right guy, but the ammo and to get out of that no man's land, unless somebody great falls to us, would be the best case scenario. But this little graphic I have over here, you're going to see out of the top 20 teams, a lot of these teams are cap strapped. And when you're cap strapped, you need as many cheap players as you can in picks. And I think the league with its new cycles understanding you need to get as many drafted players who are cheap. And so the trade up to us at 13, unless it's a smaller one, unless somebody's superstar falls to us, I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm hoping. I think that would be the best. I think there's some really good guys in that 20 range. I think there's better value in the 20 ranges I'm looking at, or in the late teens. 13 is a little no man's land. But hey, we got Minka and we got Tunsil, so you never know. So this combine's coming. We're going to see a lot, guys move up, move down. It's all a crapshoot now. I think it will start dialing in a little bit more, especially when you see the free agents get cut or re-signed. But this is how I'm seeing it. I'm going to dial it in for this combine over the next couple of days. I'm going to definitely dial in the draft. I got some people coming to talk draft. I'm going to bone up, and I'm going to get it. I want offensive line, but I want a good player and good value first. Because the reality is, if you reach, it's going to kind of set everything off. Now, last point is, before I close out, I forgot to say it, Greer has struggled with offensive linemen except Hunt. And if he doesn't take one at 13, it's going to lower his odds, and his odds are really low. So it is a difficult spot. But if one of those three corners fell, I would take them. I would take that. We need it, because if this defense is not stopping anybody, that means you're going to have to put even more points on, and we're struggling with that. So, you got a bunch of different guys in there with Warren and stuff. But to me, cornerback, DI, but I don't know if anyone's going to be there, and offensive linemen are probably cornerback and offensive linemen, the biggest positions for us. So that's it. Curtis saying, be well, go Fins. Curtis out. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.